of the HSBC Women's 7 Series brings 12 teams to Sydney for Summer Down Under and the first tournament of the new year. We're at a new host venue, Spotless Stadium in Sydney's West, as Australia looks to dominate like they did this time last year. They took over all comers and aim for back-to-back titles as we hit the halfway point of the season.
This is why we love seven. Lewis Holland, Stannard, and he is in. And John Port puts it down. O'Donnell is over. Australia have another one. It is all over. Your champions in Sydney 2018, Australia.
Yes, an Australian double in Sydney last year, the men and the women. But this is how our women's series standings are after 2 rounds. New Zealand, 2 from 2, winners in Glendale and Dubai to take 40 points, the maximum they can get after 2. Canada, the Dubai finalists, USA in Glendale, and Australia rounding out the top 4. The all-important top 4, of course, because those 4 spots will earn automatic qualification for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. The race for that is certainly hotting up. Our Cup quarter-final draw then here in Sydney would see New Zealand taking on Canada in a repeat of that Dubai final. Russia against the USA. Ireland making history, the first time that they have ever reached a Cup quarter-final. They're moving on into the semis, and then Australia back there again against France. So the Cup quarter-final draw, incredibly exciting. Let's see how it shakes out. And here is Fata Simpkins. She's got lots of different tricks in her sleeve. She's kicked ahead for herself. Fata Simpkins, they're chasing. The Canadians are coming at her. Fata Simpkins trying to hold them up. Finds the support in the form of Fitzpatrick. New Zealand have busted out, brought in a rare handling error from her, but it's gone backwards, and now they'll set. And she'll step, and she'll go herself. Broughton, where's the support? Still going. Here it is in the form of Blyde. It might open up here for Blyde. Canada again, hustling, scrambling. Then goes at her once more. And Fitzpatrick in support. The support play of New Zealand is just outdoing some outstanding Canadian defence.
Gail Broughton, the ball goes to ground. She steps back, resets. A few little dummies here, does what she does best, and Michaela Blyde to stay alive there, keep the ball alive, go into contact, comes so close to the try line, but Fitzpatrick again gets her 3rd touch in this phase of play.
They go short at the line out. Kramer Diaz releasing Ember. Doyle, good step from the co-captain into the Russian 22. They've got the advantage for that high call. Kramer Diaz trying to catch Russian sleeping. Gets the offload, and it's there. Cheta Ember. Cheta Ember is there.
Set.
Higgins on a tear, skipping away. The Spanish players are falling. She sends a beautiful ball out wide to Murphy Crowe. Back in field, Higgins buries the head, puts the foot down. She started it, she finishes it. Eve Higgins, what a start.
The ricochet works to Parky. Big tackle coming in from Miles. Politi out to this near side to Tonegato. Good to see her back on the park. With that shoulder up after San Francisco. Shani Williams slaloming her way through the French defence. Oh, the captain leading from the front. Smile, Shani, that's a bit special.
So New Zealand, a torrid win over Canada in the first of the quarterfinals. USA left it late to advance. Irish delight into the semi-final for the first time, and Australia back in the final four in their hometown. Two outstanding semi-finals on offer in Sydney.
You know how to do that. USA on 3, 1, 2, 3. USA!
Tui, Waka, Stacey Waka will always take on the line, and the ball around the corner for Tui in support. USA having to make a lot of tackles, and Tui skipped out of one. She's missed it. She's going to go herself, Ruby Tui. She does all the hard work, puts her head in all the nasty places, but she skipped out of a tackle and scored a critical try for New Zealand. Broughton. Trying to go herself, Gail Broughton. She's got nobody in front of her. Covers coming across. They won't be able to stop Gail Broughton in there. Her skills are too silky. She's got too much class. And Gail Broughton grabs another one for New Zealand.
Green revs it up, releases the handbrake, and she's off. Nobody is going to touch Elliot Green. It's hat-trick hero for the hometown team.
So the USA and Ireland playing off for the bronze medal, and it is the old rivals back in the final again. New Zealand against Australia. That coming up a little bit later. Still some minor placings to be decided. All important competition points. Let's hand over now to former Australian international Tiana Penatani and your match caller Simon Ward.
Yes, thank you, Ricky. As we head towards this 7th place playoff, points on offer and vital points in the table. These two started the series against each other. Now they're going to finish Sydney trying to get a little bit of feel-good back into their minds. There's the two lineups, standard lineups pretty much from both teams, as Elena Mikhaltsova and Barbara Pla lead their charges out. Back in Glendale, it was a Russian victory, 34 points to 5. But this Spanish side seemed to have rediscovered in many ways a little bit of their mojo through the course of this weekend. That big win over the USA on day one was critical in their psyche.
Yeah, in terms of mental toughness, that obviously would have pumped their tyres, that win against the USA. But both of these teams looking to finish this Sydney Sevens leg on a high. 8 points on offer for this 7th place, and Russia sitting at 6th really would like to etch closer and closer towards that top 4 leading into Olympic qualification.
So Russia, Spain for the 7th place playoff. Vital points in the table, vital points towards potential Olympic qualification. This, the last match of the first half of the season for these two. That particular qualification will come into ever sharper focus now through the rest of this series. Lauren Jenner just sorting out the communication. Patricia Garcia just checking that everybody is on the same page in her team for their start off. Both teams, of course, having to recover from back-to-back disappointments yesterday and this morning. Hamidova having to rush back to pick up the scraps there. Again, Mikhaltsova's pass not accurate. And the Russian skipper really has not had a good weekend. We're used to far, far better from her.
Yeah, Mikhaltsova has been quiet this weekend in Sydney. But a clinical start there from Spain with the deep kickoff, forcing Russia on the back foot to have to work their way out of their 22, and then Hamidova coughs up the ball. Good attacking opportunity here for Spain on the left edge.
Garcia sniping around the fringe. Good closing of the door there from Kukina. Bravo. Driving on a little further. They've got a big gap out wide, and it's there for Sanchez. Beatriz Dominguez Sanchez gets her name on the try scorers list for this one.
Dominguez Sanchez opening up this match for Spain, but we talk about getting first points on the board and building confidence throughout a match. Spain do that so well, opening their matches, and off from the kickoff, a very clinical start, get the scrum 5 metres out on the left-hand side, and then they had the overlap with numbers. All they had to do was just core skills through the hands, nice crypt passes, and it's Dominguez Sanchez that gets 5 points for herself.
Yeah, the work of Pedro Di Mateus, the, well, relatively new coach. He's in his second season now. But you can see the structures that are in place, both in defence and in attack, and that was very pertinent there. Kick just dropping underneath, so not going to get the maximum haul from that, but a positive start from Las Leonas. Spain currently 9th in the table going into this weekend. Russia in 6th, but Russia know that they will be dropping down those rankings with the weekend that Ireland have had. Mikhaltsova putting her shoulder in. Lovely line from Bystrova. Hamidova goes venturing down that right flank. Hamidova's away. Striding away, just teasing Garcia before she dots the ball down, and there is the perfect response from the Russians.
So much experience under the belt of this woman, Hamidova. She saw that she had 25, 30 metres of space to play with, and she absolutely backed her pace, got her left-hand fend out, and knew that she had beaten her defender one-on-one. Pure class there from Hamidova.
She has that gait, that extended running pattern stride that is so difficult to tackle once she gets into that movement. Such a difficult player to bring down. So Hamidova gets her team back in the mix. And the other try this weekend was against the USA yesterday. And she is again. Good work from Bystrova, jackling over the top there. Kukina, up over halfway. Barbara Plaid just able to pick her pocket as she came through. Sanchez, happy to take the contact. Oh, quick take from Mikhaltsova. Mikhaltsova to Daria Noritsina. Big tackle coming in. Russia have to rebuild, but they're rebuilding from inside the opposition half. Bystrova striding out. Oh, high tackle there from, I think it was Maria Losada. She's going to sit out the next two.
Doesn't look too happy about that, Bystrova. She knew that she was in, she'd broken that line, and she wanted the 5 points rather than the sin bin.
Yeah, Bystrova without her twin sister Daria this weekend. But just take a look at this.
takes on the line so nicely, and she committed both those defenders and just bounced off her left foot through a tiny gap.
Well, there's a bigger gap for Cristina Seredina, and Russia take the lead with Spain down a player. Well worked, well deserved.
Very well worked by the Russian side, but Cristina Seredina, too quick, too smart. And there's the money ball there, but this effort from Bystrova to commit those two defenders, she knew she was over that line, but they end up coming away with 5 points anyway.
Conversion doesn't find the target, but there's Lasada watching on. Las Leonas really determined this weekend to improve their lot. 9th in Glendale and 10th in Dubai, so they've done that, but they want to finish with the victory, no question about that. Sanchez. Echevarria coming in quickly to try and release that ball. Garcia in the playmaker role instead.
Play the ball on the ground.
A scrappy start there from Spain.
Match at the moment in the control of the Russians.
Just here, ladies.
And seemingly no rush for Marina Kukina. Kukina using Gavrilyuk as the rebound wall before trying to get hammered over, moving down this flank for a change. You see the effort to bring her down from the Spanish girls. Bystrova almost through. Marina Bravo sticking to her task. Spain swarming around the ball. Again, another penalty. Mikhaltsova spots opportunity on that right side, wants the support. Barbara Pla brings her down. Mikhaltsova goes again. Big moment in this game, albeit at the end of the first half. Kukina shunted backwards by Barbara Pla. Noritsina has numbers outside. One of them is hammered over. And in the end, it's a very simple trot over. And that is a significant advantage now for Russia at half-time.
A great way to go into the half-time huddle, but they made this a lot harder than what they needed to. There was plenty of space on that right-hand side. They just needed one more player just to loop around the ruck. But Hamidova comes away with the points right on half-time.
Well, scoring tries has been the issue, really. Just 7 tries in the 5 matches previous to this, so getting 3 by the break will no doubt please Andre Cousin for the team talk. The conversion is an irrelevance as the teams go into the huddles. Russia the happier, they lead at the break, 15 points to 5.
Девочки, в атаке все нормально. Смотрите, у вас преимущество, сыграйте пошире, что вы долго здесь? Смотри, входите, рак происходит. 6 секунд, отойдите еще метров 10 назад. Не можете пешком даже не сбегать. Стоишь просто на линии, тебе не классно дать ничего. Если я не буду ставить у меня, ты не стоишь.
Уже бросьте мяч, дай, пожалуйста.
Смотри, не замедляйте, к раку побежал, медленный мячик, свободно. Подняла, сразу пас.
Я же так подняла сразу.
5 секунд стоят.
Там мяч не могли выиграть.
Карен, отрабатывайте его, делайте быстрый мяч. Они специально вам руки вяжут. Аня, внутренним игроком выжимайте. Почему вы даете им на подрезке вам играть? Вот здесь, с этой, поджал, и постраховываешь этим игрокам. Если мощный захват, а ты останавливаешься,
Barbie trabaja, pues trabaja desde 6. ¿Vale?
Vamos, vamos, equipo.
¡Equipo! ¡Siete!
Ahí arriba, ahí arriba. Queda mucho, vamos.
So the crowd getting ready for this second half of the 7th place playoff. Not quite sure whether he's going to be releasing his new album quite yet, but plenty of enjoyment, plenty of colour, plenty of fun in the stands through the course of this year's HSBC Sydney Sevens. It really has been, well, some phenomenal weather to start with. We've had some very different weather, some very warm weather, which we're experiencing today, and some good rugby to match. Now, how is this second half going to pan out? Daria Lushina off the bench to get things going. Russia, well, they had such a good time here last year, finishing 4th. They're going to start the second half as they want to continue, and at last, Irina Bystrova does get over the try line.
She technically didn't get her points in the first half, but great vision here to scoop up that messy ball and just backs herself through the line, knows that she's beaten 3 defenders. An impressive start here from Russia.
Yeah, we talk a lot about Elena Mikhaltsova, but this young lady is really flowering in this series now, having more and more of an impact on her team.
And this being her 16th tournament, she has been there in the background, but you've got the likes of Hamidova, Mikhaltsova that usually take the spotlight, but as you said, she has bloomed throughout this Sydney Sevens.
She's going to take a breather now. There's Daria Lushina. Repeats the feat of just a minute ago. Lida Urbina, a youngster who has herself made quite some impact for Spain through the course of this weekend, just 18 years of age. Sanchez, try scorer in that first half. Messy breakdown area, but Spain eventually are able to sort it out with the elder Amaya Urbina. Marina Bravo sets it back, but the support, well, Bravo in fact penalised for holding on, and Russia now just able to dominate this game territorially and on the scoreline. It's all in their control. Just looking at some of the top tackler stats over the course of this weekend, and you look at Bystrova, who just scored that last try, Seredina, Hamidova, Mikhaltsova, they're all in the top 10 of tacklers. You realise the effort that they've been putting in this weekend, much as the attack hasn't really found its sharpest edge.
And you notice that throughout all of the World Series legs, at least 3 or 4 Russians are in that top 10 when it comes to work rate, when it comes to line breaks, tackles made. They are always up there working hard.
Hamidova it is to provide the ball. Mikhaltsova out to Seredina, and Seredina with a simple pass to open the door for Daria Noritsina, and another try on the ball for Russia. And it's a bit one way in this second half now. Spain desperate to get a foothold in this game, but Russia not taking their foot off the throat.
A nice clean line out there from Russia. Mikhaltsova takes it into contact, gets a fend out, commits a defender, and creates that 3-on-2 overlap. They've controlled the tempo of the pace of the game throughout this match, Russia, and really capitalising on every opportunity they get in their 22. Just suffocating Spain and depriving them of any attacking possession.
Yep, a handful of tries now already in the bag for the Russian girls. As I say, only 7 tries in the previous 5 games, so finding a little bit of attacking thrust to add to their defensive duties. Lovely pick up by Urbina. Just losing the ball in the contact there, and again it's going to allow Russia to force themselves back into Spanish territory.
That was taken so nicely there from Lida Urbina. She was on the fly, changing angles, great ball transition, but the pressure from Russian defense is just getting a little bit too much for this Spanish side. You can see they're starting to crack under pressure.
Yeah, Spain just don't seem to have got themselves going in this game, really. It has been a long break. The girls started early this morning and then had, what, 7 hours, give or take, to get themselves going again to start this last chapter. But Spain don't seem to have been able to find that key to spark their engine. And it's all been about the Russians, certainly in their second half, as they work their way down the right flank once again with Seredina, Mikhaltsova, Anna Baranchuk off the bench for her first touch. We talk about the Olympic qualification at the end of this season, of course, for Russia and Spain. They will want to be in the mix. They've got a European tournament at the end of this season, and then failing that, of course, there is the repechage next year. And of course, Spain enjoyed the repechage last time around. Both Spanish men and women were able to get the Olympic ticket from that particular tournament. But it's going to be an interesting and a different mix, certainly with the advance of Ireland that we've seen over the course of this series. Me? Really? Surely not, Daria Lushina.
This being the real first attacking opportunity here at set piece for Spain. The first 2 errors in the game for Russia, surprisingly.
Bind. Sit. Pulling out, ladies.
Algar on to get some game time for Patricia Garcia. No way through there for Maria Garcia. So they go wandering out to the left flank, Urbina. Oh, lovely little check and chase from Echevarria. Echevarria being tracked down by Zdrakova, but the support comes up for Martinez. Skipper Bravo sets it back once again. Oh, but the handling error stymies the attack. And Russia can once again take control of the ball. Zdrakova forcing them back up to the 10-metre line, again getting the call. The penalty count really racking up against the Spanish girls now, as weary legs desperately try and keep going in the final minute of this weekend. Well, sticking to their task, credit to them, but this has been all about the ladies in blue. Lushina just the running through the motions now to finish things off. Lushina changes things up. Spain have to shuttle back into the 22. Last play as the hooter goes. The last play of the 2019 HSBC Sydney Sevens for Spain and Russia. Are Spain going to finish off in style? Well, Sanchez scored their only try thus far. Having to go from deep. Echevarria weighing up the options, scanning. Pass looked a little forward, to say the least. They're going to go back for a penalty call against the Russian line.
One more attacking opportunity here for Spain. Russia being offside, forcing that forward pass.
Sub, ladies. 3 goals.
Well, Maria Casado is going to be brought on as the strike weapon for Spain for the final play. Substitution sorted and Spain go. Nice little offload from Urbina. Ball goes loose, penalty to Russia again. Spanish discipline being questioned and called, and again Russia make the most of it. Daria Lushina with the final play of the weekend. It's going to be Russia that take the 7th spot, the 8 points that go with it. They will drop down the table maybe from their 6th start, but at least they will have something to take back with them and keep them in that mix as they work towards the end of this season and those valuable Olympic qualification spots. So Lushina finishes it off with try and conversion. Russia say goodbye to Sydney with a big win over Las Leonas. The final score, Russia 34, Spain 5. Well, beautiful views around the Sydney Olympic Park. Blue sky adorning the visions everywhere. Let's get on to the next game with Nolly Waterman and Ricky Swanell.
Thanks, Simon Ward. Fifth place playoff for Canada and France. Hugely important for these teams as they charge out to a very warm, spotless stadium. Ricky Swanell and Nolly Waterman. Nolly, how much is on this for these players? I know it's minor placings, but it's still important.
It is really important. There's going to be tired bodies out there because it's been a tough 3 days in some searing heat. But every game matters, like you say, because of World Series points all go towards potential Olympic qualification. Top 4 go straight from the World Series into that pool, and the rest have to go to their world regions, which is a challenge in particular, I would say, for the European teams.
Canada, who were runners-up in Dubai, have shown great signs. Just lacked a bit of consistency this weekend, whereas France sitting 5th overall, so they're in quite a precarious position, as we said, for that Olympic qualification as we head now into the second half of the season. Leg 3 of 6 this tournament, and this is the last match in Sydney for France and Canada. Shannon Izar sends it long and high, and that's looking into the sun for the Canadians, and it's Drant who's got up there and taken it down for France. Did very well. And quickly into the hands of the strong, powerful, fast athlete Anne-Cécile Silfani, who goes from strength to strength for France. Izar clears. Ranging in midfield is Maillon. Little dummy around the outside. Drant, who started all with that great take from the restart. Oh, this one almost got away from it. Izar. Shannon Izar for the first points in the playoff. Well-worked team try by France, and Izar is the one to finish.
Really decent start from the French. Restore regaining their restart right from the start of the game. Quick tap on the penalty and shift into space. She might be quite a tall player, but she's still light on her feet.
Caroline Drant with the goal-kicking duties. That's curled away. A little bit of a breeze out there now, perhaps, too. See, fluttering around, and I think that's how that restart hung up a little bit. But a nice start for France here, 5-0. Same option this time. It's bounced around for Crosley. Hit hard in the tackle. Ben. And just a little look up. Uncharacteristic error from Julia Greenshields, whose skills are usually pinpoint. Just a sign, as you said earlier, Nolly, about just how tough it is at this stage of a very long 3 days for these players.
And I'm sure it's been an exhausting day, getting up very early for that early kickoff this morning and then going back to the hotel, relaxing and resting. It's kind of like you've started the game all over again with a 7-hour gap.
Nesson to feed. She's got options out to her right, but Silfani out in the left, and they do make the play switching left. Here comes Izar. She's already got one, goes herself, looking to get the ball around the corner to Silfani. She did, but the winger couldn't handle it. It was a tough pass. A long way down for tall, lean figure of Anne-Cécile Silfani.
could see what Izar wanted to do. She just needed to give the ball a little bit more air, and I think Siofani would have been over the line. Frustrating error. You could see Izar shouting to herself because that's an opportunity lost for the French.
Bind. Set.
Cleared away. Landry opts to kick for the first time. Not been touched in flight. Certainly sounded like it, but it bounces up nicely for Drouin. Izar. Again with Siofani. This time they're linking out on the right. Late hit on Izar, but I don't know if it's going to matter as Siofani. Oh, great tackle. Charity Williams. Ball is kicked ahead off the legs of Izar again. Canada try to break through. Ben, ball knocked out of her hands, knocked down, and it's a bit of a scramble on the deck. Eventually Canada earn the penalty.
See the experience of Ben just saying, slow down, let's take the field, let's get out of our 22. The French have started this game with a real intensity. You can see one of their stars from the weekend, Siofani, running through, but Charity Williams has got complete gas. So, you know, that was always going to be a good challenge.
Let's just make sure they've got two.
Spanish players have finished up and thanking the big Sydney crowd. Head home to regroup for the next tournament. As Canada carry on. Landry chipping ahead for Charity Williams. Siofani was slow to react and slow to turn, and Charity Williams is leading the chase here. Ball is going to stay in for her. Can she scoop it up? Hacks it ahead. Charity Williams. Siofani coming back at her. It's neck and neck for the line, and the ball wins the race. There were three in it. And it's the bounce of the rugby ball that does them all.
Oh, it's a killer. That would have been absolutely brilliant. It was pinpoint from Landry. It sat up really nicely as well. Look at that. And just a bit too much from Charity Williams. Ah! Such a shame.
Oh, really great effort, and it's a say, what a kick. France bringing in some changes. Valentine Latour's onto the field in 5 on debut this weekend. Siofani gets a wrench in a big old chase. Siofani, I think Charity Williams might get one too. Well earned as Kaylee Lucan comes in for Canada.
Just square up when you feed the ball. Okay. Just so it's a bit more bigger. Yeah. Crouch. Bind.
Calanesson.
Set.
I'm going to try to shove. Balls are stuck there and a player's come.
Collapsing.
And stuck, it was Crosley, so Nesson looks to go quickly. Nice quick transfer by the French. Now it just breaks down slightly into the hands of Izar Drouin. Caroline Drouin, all in 2 hands, sizing up the options. Sort of has run into a little bit of trouble as well as Lucan, and now Ben drives her back into the ground. Still some feeling in these tackles late in the day. Ball hasn't found French hands, but it might be there. Oh, the little football skills. This time for Landry, it sits into the hands of Farella, one-on-one with Izar. Not stopping Bianca Farella from that distance. First touch. Next, Bianca Farella, another try.
Nice pick up from Farella, but talk about skill from Landry. She put a pinpoint kick in about a minute or so ago. But look at this little touch. That's fantastic. I think Canadian football will be on the phone soon.
Canadian women's team footballers are a good side. Oh, that's like stabbing the back of the net. Pick that one out. What it means is that Canada just striking before half-time, really important. The bench liking it too. Kick from Landry is spot on as well. So they had to do a lot of defence. Canada strike and now take the lead, 7 points to 5. Attacking the ball, Izar it was, and Mayon coming in as well. Chloe Pell. Nesson. Here is Latour's. Wide, Valentine Latour's getting away from a lot of the Canadian defence. Can just see the acceleration she has there. And they've been able to clear as well. Mayon changes direction. Lukin's chasing and hassling it. And now Pelt only knows one way. Ball popped into the hands of Mayon. Touched it about 3 or 4 times in this passage of play. The captain Orta. And now some space for Izar. Crosley's chasing, but Shannon Izar showing quite the fleet of foot, turn of speed. Shannon Izar, after the half-time hooter, puts France back in front.
Izar has put in a huge shift the first 7 minutes of this game. She's been so important to their attack. They were patient with the ball, which is good. We haven't seen that this weekend really from the French. And Izar showing all of her class and her experience, just backing herself to go on the outside.
Caroline Drouin converts the try of Shannon Izar, and it puts France in front at half-time, 12 points to 7.
We're playing into that wing. It's custom to go for the deeper kick. Okay? Yeah, go for it. I know it's against us, but if you go for a short one and you go back, not tense, so we're going to go to the deeper one, okay? Right? We got to have a point on those, the deeper one, and then we got to trust the defense. So you don't need to pinch. So we're all good across the field, stay connected, and push against that sideline, okay? That's all. And then just more talk on the outside. The outside's the same.
Les attirer. Si déjà on est replié, 1-2 passes, et après ça va enclencher au bout. Ok? Un tout petit peu un effort en plus supplémentaire pour le repli, et après on va attaquer dans les espaces.
Et l'effort de repli, et on reste en mouvement. On reste pas une cible fixe pour prendre une cartouche. On bouge toujours.
Regardez ce que vous avez en face. Mettez-vous déjà dans les intervalles si c'est possible.
Il y a du vent, rapprochez-vous.
Le vent est soleil, on met la main.
One more lift, isn't it?
Interesting, the passion you can hear in Mayans and Horta, two of the most experienced sevens players in both sevens and 15s, lifting their team, asking for more, asking for 7 more minutes, because they know how crucial every point matters on this World Series.
France 12, Canada 7 in the playoff for 5th. Ghislaine Landry drives the kickoff long, right down the middle, scooped up by Drouin. Orta, this wonderful captain of the French team, running a long way sideways and now back the other way, tries to find her teammates, and she set one of them up, Mayon.
Came off right in the tackle.
Unlucky for Canada,
It came forward.
because Marjorie Mayon had her back to the oncoming defence as she received the pass from her skipper.
I thought it came forward.
Really nice defensive read, by Nicholas, shooting out the line. Mayans is a big, strong ball carrier. That's really, really great play, and they were unlucky to get the knock on.
Let's just keep this simple, okay, guys? Bind and push straight. Crouch. Bind. Set. Hold.
France, ball across the face of Drouin. She catches up with it. It's allowed the Canadian defence to come up neatly. Laid back, but is Milewski in there? Yeah, good work from Kayla Milewski. Landry for Canada, stepping her way through the traffic, stepping her way through to another try for Ghislaine Landry.
Lovely snake hips from Landry. She asked for the ball, she took it to the defence and weaved her way through. She's such a linchpin to this Canadian side, and she's so agile, so balanced, but yet brings just a level of experience and calmness as well.
Don't you just love seeing players who want the ball, they demand it, they want to be able to work their magic. That's not quite the magic Landry was after. So
I always think it's quite a skill to hit the post, though.
Yeah. So we're back all square, 12 points apiece. Well, that's a tricky kickoff. Latours has done really well and popped a nice ball to Nesson, who'd run a superb line. Farella, the speedster, is chasing. She's going to be able to bring it down. Inside ball through Latours. What a breakout try for France from the kickoff.
What a response from France. Latours getting the 5 points, but incredible work and just tight little line. Kickoff was taken really well because that was flying high. Neeson did short ball, excellent work. She wasn't going to get around Farella, who works so hard for this team, but the support is brilliant.
Valentine Latours came within a centimetre of putting her foot on the touchline as she brought in that restart. Found Nesson on a fabulous angle. And France go back in front. It's tit for tat at the moment, 17-12. Chinanizar gets a breather and some instructions from her coach, David Cortex. Ben just clings on.
Over the shoulder.
Water just got that slightly wrong. Nicholas adds a good burst of energy to the Canadian team as she comes off the bench. Farella and Ben. Ben still going. Two players in support. A timely intervention from Ciofani.
She's off her feet because number 9. She's off her feet because number 9.
Durant drives France downfield, 10 metres inside Canadian territory.
Just keep the gap here, please.
Yeah, probably an unnecessary offload there. Just create a breakdown. Ciofani's one of the tallest players on the field, so to try and chuck it over her, I think she's always going to swipe it out of the air.
To the front, cleverly worked move to Mayon. Just stays in field under the attention of Lucan. Joan. And now Ciofani ranging wide.
Over.
Getting rid of the tackler, Ben, who went pretty high. Nicholas round the waist, and then Ben comes back just in time to beat Latours, who's held on too long. Good chasing back, Brittany Ben. She just doesn't stop.
No, she's fine now.
Williams fends off her own player, then gets around the back. Ben again on the angle. Crosley. Not much room to move here for Charity Williams. Almost look like a couple of players on the ready to shape up on a wrestling mat. Another penalty.
Same penalties before.
Canada able to take a breather now. You can see Landry running in, get themselves set for a set play. This is an important part of the game for them. Under a minute to go, they must get a try.
Brittany Ben, hard charge to the line. Ball is loose, picked up by Farella. They don't want to miss her, and Ciofani has. She's going to have to chase, but there's no energy left in the legs. And there's it comes. Oh, in the form. Oh, so desperately close. The French players, they didn't give up. The Canadians strike back, and we're all square once more.
Bianca Farella is all heart. She just put everything on the line, including her face this weekend. Just unbelievable. what I really like about this is she is desperately tired, but yet she has the intelligence to swerve right at the end, which makes the onslaught of the defence just impossible for her to be caught.
Fanny Horta got a touch, and on full time, Canada convert to go 2 in front, 19-17, and there's time for a restart.
There was 15 on the clock on the full time.
Just heard a referee say there was 15 on the clock as the kick was taken, so that means we have time for a restart. Landry, France looking to secure this. They'll have to go 80-odd metres to take the 5th place playoff. We've seen that they are more than capable. Oh, Pell took her eye off the ball. That might be it for Canada.
Knock on.
It will be. They've had to come from behind twice, the Canadians, but they fronted up really well in their final act here in Sydney, and they will take 5th place. They've beaten France 19-17. Second in Dubai. They were sitting second overall heading into this weekend. They might take a little bit of a drop on the table, but I'm sure they'll be pleased to finish off, and we can find out just how pleased Nat Yanidas has some reaction.
Yeah, I've got Bianca Ferrella down here. Bianca, what an incredible win. That really showed a lot of character of this side.
Yeah, you said it. We worked really hard. You know, like I said earlier, we can't turn off. The game of sevens is too good nowadays. It's growing across the globe, which is phenomenal.
Just how important is this win? Obviously, it is an Olympic qualifying year, so to finish 5th is a pretty good outcome.
Yeah, to finish 5th, I think it's the best outcome that we got, starting day 2 and day 3. Like you said, it's Olympic qualification, so the closest teams to top 4. I think that's our main goal right now.
Well, it's been an incredible tournament for you personally as well. How have you found your own form?
Yeah, thanks. I think we all put in hard work over the holidays, and I got to attribute it to my teammates.
Well, congratulations on the win.
Thank you so much.
So North America beat Europe to take the 5th. Now we're going to move towards the bronze medal and see which region is going to be smiling come the end of this one. It's USA against Ireland for 3rd place in the HSBC Sydney Sevens. These two teams met here a year ago in the 7th place playoff, with Ireland victorious on that occasion. A lot of water has passed under the bridge since then, of course. It'll be fascinating to see mentally where these two teams are after the disappointment of losing semi-finals this morning. But they've got a chance to go home with something special. There's the USA 7, the standard 7 really. It's a slightly different mix for Ireland, so a Flynn, Hogan, Lane, Bevan Parsons, the 17-year-old, getting the chance to start this one. All in the mix for the bronze medal. Tavita Roccavereni gets his final match of the weekend. Lucy Mulhall once again leading Ireland from the front. What a beautiful view. It's been a beautiful weekend. Who is going to enjoy this final match more?
Backwards.
Haviland, one of the co-captains with Lauren Doyle, that really has worked so hard to keep the USA together. Christy Kirsch, another important oh, there's the slap off from Chris Thomas, and what a start for the USA. Chris Thomas goes downtown for the first try inside the first 30 seconds. What a start.
Chris Thomas is rapid, and she just showed why she's such a try-scoring machine. But what I like, Bosch, take that. Bosch, take that. And then off she trots.
Yeah, you can see the former track and basketball star has still got that wonderful athleticism and power and the balance to go with it. Well, everything that Chris Brown could have asked has come to fruition inside the first minute. There he is. In his first season, of course, got to the cup final in the first event in Glendale. Finished 4th in Dubai. Is he going to finish 3rd in Sydney? So Ireland have to recover and just go again. Baven Parsons onto Murphy Crowe. Good work from Nea Tapper on the counter ruck, and Cheta Emba is able to pick up the pieces, and USA are flooding forward again. Thomas dancing inside and out, gets the offload. Ireland struggling to stop the momentum that the USA seemingly have.
Beyond the ground,
Kirsch just holding on for too long there. And Mulhall, understandably, just wanted to settle her team down.
Mulhall is a classy player. She leads from the front, but yet she just doesn't take anything for granted in terms of pitch position. She's calmed it down. Yeah, really, really great player.
So Emily Lane with this first set piece for Ireland. As they try and get their attacking game into gear, that pass is not going to help. Few nerves showing already in the Irish ranks from some of the more inexperienced practitioners. Emily Lane only just turned 20 last month. Whitney Hogan made her Dubai debut just before Christmas. Baven Parsons, I mentioned, is still a teenager. So the experience of the likes of Murphy Crowe, of Lou Galvin, Lucy Mulhall is going to be absolutely critical in these opening 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, a little bit of miscommunication there in the American attack. You could see what they wanted to do, but yeah, there's some tired bodies out there, and it's also, you've got to have a brain speed that is an intensity in sevens that is really tough too.
Ireland looking to go again now. Murphy Crowe finding no way through, but the recycle is good. That white line up hard and fast in Irish faces. Mulhall determined to keep things moving. Well, great work from Haviland. She takes the quick tap and she goes. She has got the fire in her belly today, no question about it. Tapper. Out to Cheta Emba, scored that vital try against Russia yesterday, right at the death. To take the match. Oh, there's Christy Kirsch. Puts her head down, drives for glory. Christy Kirsch with USA's second try.
Kirsch has managed to sniff out the smallest of gaps all weekend. Real powerful, nuggety type player. They've done really well there to spot the gap in the Irish defence.
Kirsch has made a big impact within this series and obviously within the USA ranks. A very positive addition. You can see the applause from the bench. Ilona Maher there in a singlet. Unfortunately, haven't seen as much of her this weekend as we were hoping. Got injured in that first game, and you can add in the likes of Alec Kelter and Abby Gustatis not involved in the group this weekend. There's plenty of power and talent coming through for Chris Brown to utilise. Bounce of the ball favouring the USA as well, but I think the knock-on is going to give the put into Ireland.
Ireland lucky there. I think they thought it was going to be going out, and the first to react was Chris Thomas.
Ireland finished in 7th here last year, as I say, with that win over the Eagles in that 7th place playoff. So really upping the ante now in terms of what they're capable of. Their first semi-final in the series was this morning. Now just trying to make sure they leave with a medal. Haviland. Chris Thomas goes on the outside, and Chris Thomas does it on the left flank. She does it on the right flank. She does it again for the USA.
Really impressive stuff from Chris Thomas. To repeatedly sprint at the pace that she goes at is unbelievably tiring and difficult, and she just glides across with that really long stride. But it came from a turnover at the scrum. We rarely see a hook against the head in sevens, but the Americans managed to do it.
Well, it's all going one way in the first half. Anthony Eddy is going to have his work cut out with that half-time team talk, because at the break, the efforts of Chris Thomas and co mean that the USA are in a really dominant position at the turnaround. Chris Brown's team lead 19 points to 0. Well, there's the big one that's coming up. New Zealand, Australia, repeat from 12 months ago. 31-0 then to the hosts. It's going to be a different mix for this one, but what a huge matchup. And there they are, getting ready for the big event. It is going to be tactically a fascinating battle between John Manenti and Alan Bunting, but also, of course, so many matchups within the squads that know each other so well. How does it affect the psychology for the Cup final in the 2019 HSBC Sydney Sevens? We await with intent. Meanwhile, back inside Spotless Stadium, the USA have managed to set up a very, very powerful scoreboard, but Ireland have been here before. Can they come back again?
They were indeed. They were 19-0 down against Australia in their previous game, and they came back to 12-19 with a chance to score at the end. So do not rule out this Irish side.
So Ireland have to bounce back if they're going to be with any chance of taking a bronze medal in their hand luggage on the way back home tomorrow. USA dominant in that first half. How is the final 7 minutes for these two going to play out? Higgins off the bench, another one who's made big impressions this weekend, Eve Higgins. And you can see Ireland trying to get through the gears a lot quicker. Mulhall, Higgins, whisked out. Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe. Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe takes the fast track as the defenders hit quicksand. The Irish try machine produces just what they needed at the beginning of the second half.
What a set from Ireland. They took the ball right, they bring it left, and this lady has incredible speed and determination. She just is a try machine.
Well, cometh the hour, cometh the Murphy-Crowe. That's the Irish saying at the moment, because she always seems to be in the right place at the right time. And there you can see the tally that she's amassing once again. 6 tries in Dubai, 18 tries last season, so she's already match that. Perfect riposte from Ireland. Oh, that's an awkward collision. Higgins didn't see, I think, yeah, Jordan Gray-Medias coming through there. Higgins slowly getting back to her feet in back play. USA not waiting. Haviland, Tapper. Chetaremba hanging wide, but the pass doesn't find her and edged forwards. In any case, let's just take a look at that collision. That was an awkward collision, both eyes on the ball. That is going to be a tough hit, but she's a tough lady, Eve Higgins. She's still out there. Just 19 years of age. Will have enjoyed the experience at Bromley University Sevens last year. Part of the placement that Anthony Eddy put in to give these youngsters experience. And now Higgins stepping up to the plate this weekend. Mulhall, as ever, the spark plug for this Irish side. Such an important player, such a good player. Devil Nicovard being thrown about there, but managing to hold on to the ball, and Ireland can get their attack going again with Higgins. Higgins straightens things up. Ember coming back for another bite, but Eve Higgins stretching out for a big, big score for Ireland.
Higgins, take a bow. What an individual effort. The step and acceleration. And Chetaremba is no slouch. This girl is unbelievable. She's 19 years old and producing tries for fun.
And I can't believe she's got that much oxygen inside her body after that big hit that we just saw at the beginning of the second half. Well, take a look at the scoreboard, because it's changing as the match is changing. Here is that hit, that collision. And yet she's able to recover and produce this. Well, here is a superstar in the making in Irish rugby. They're breeding them young, and they're breeding them good. So, USA, you know you're in a match now. How are you going to respond? Gray-Medias. Lovely little offload coming through to Christy Kirsch. Kirsch turns on the afterburners. There's the response. USA say, you've had 2 tries since half-time. It's our turn now.
Better watch that.
Awesome finish by the new cap, Kirsch. A little bit of indecision in defence. Mulhall, we normally see make those tackles. It's been a long weekend, but not for Kirsch.
So USA get a little bit more security back on the scoreboard thanks to the debutant. Christy Kirsch with a brace now in this game and a handful in the weekend. That's a good return on the scoreboard, let alone for what else she's done around the park. So Nicole Haviland's team draw breath for the last 100 seconds of this weekend. Higgins, Mulhall, as ever, taking the contact for a team. Mulhall sparking this Irish team once again. Luke Galvin out to Devil Nicovard, being wrapped up by Tapper. Good presentation. Mulhall, the inspiration. Who is going to be the finisher? No way through for Higgins there. Guess who's first to it? Yes, it's Lucy Mulhall. Final minute, but just getting isolated a bit there, and maybe that is the game being snatched away from Ireland.
You can't fault the effort and the heart that these Irish girls have put out on the field this weekend. But some really clever play and clever defence. Haviland has got an absolute engine.
No delay, let's go.
And a great body position over that ball.
Well, we've talked about the USA absentees. You look in the Irish ranks and realise there's no Stacey Flood, Baxter's not there, Fitzhenry's not there. But they have shown themselves to be a real force in this series. And as I say, with these youngsters coming through, well, it all looks pretty rosy in the Irish Garden right now.
Yeah, they've really found consistency in form throughout the series. And a valiant effort to make their first ever Cup semi and now third, fourth playoff.
Final play of the bronze medal match. Haviland hits the target, Thomas sends it off, and the USA say, thank you very much, we'll take bronze. A compelling game, fascinating conflict between two very good teams that are going to be a force through the course of the rest of this series. Smiles on the USA faces once again as they take the third place up against a valiant Irish performance. They will have learned so much from this weekend, but the USA coming through strong and fast in the end. And it is they who will go home with the bronze medal, courtesy of that scoreline that reads USA 26, Ireland 10.
Here we go, back. Free money.
Well, you can see Tapper, Doyle and co celebrating as they should, but Lucy Mulhall and her team will take an awful lot of pride back to the Emerald Isle. Put a little bit of feel-good back in Irish rugby this weekend, maybe, because they've done their country proud. USA bouncing back to take the bronze. Chris Brown rightly congratulating his team. Well, that's the bronze medal match done. It's time for the big one. And for the big one, we have the best. Who else but Tiana Penatani and Ricky Swanell.
For the first time since June last year, two great rivals, Australia and New Zealand, will meet in a title decider. It was here in Sydney 12 months ago that most sticks out in the memory, when Australia produced perhaps the most complete performance we've seen, with a 31-0 demolition to lift the title. That result lit a fire under New Zealand, and they haven't lost since, winning the past 48 matches in a row across all competitions. For the 14th time, New Zealand and Australia will meet in a final. New Zealand leads that head-to-head, 9 matches to 4, but they have never won here in Sydney. As we see the starting lineups, Tui, Hirini, Fitzpatrick, Waka, Williams, Blyde and Fata Simpkins for New Zealand. For Australia, Williams, Paki, Dick, Paliti, Sykes, Quirk and Green. The coaches Alan Bunting and John Minenti. Tiana Penatani, that's what they are playing for. What are the keys for each of these teams?
Well, this is obviously an iconic matchup between these two high-achieving nations, but Australia, they need to stay composed in attack, keep a tight connection through the middle in defence. They can sometimes overcommit to tackles, leaving unmarked space, and with a team like New Zealand, the outfit that they've got on the field, they will annihilate that every single time. And New Zealand, they like to play on their own terms, they like to play like they've got all the time in the world, but can come unstuck when teams attack their line off repeat phase and find a lazy defender in there. So these two teams play very similar games, and they have similar strengths and weaknesses, but it's a matter of who can execute the best.
Two wonderful captains in Sarah Hiddeny for New Zealand and Shani Williams for New Zealand lead their sides out to a raucous, spotless stadium. There's a fierce smattering of New Zealand supporters. You feel like they may be drowned out by the green and golds. New Zealand without their key playmaker Tyler Nathan Wong, out injured earlier in the tournament. Both teams with players sitting at home or sitting here in the stands watching on their teammates. We've waited a long time to see them back together. The last final between these teams was Paris last year, won by New Zealand. Formalities first, though, before we get into the decider.
The national anthem of New Zealand and Australia will now be played.
the emotion, all the energy, smiles, perhaps belie the tension. What an occasion for these women. New Zealand's record has been unstoppable. But that was the one they remember. 31 points to nil in utter demolition this time last year. John Manenti showing a united front with his reserves. Holly Davidson of Scotland gets the honour of refereeing the final. And it will be New Zealand to kick off. Simpkins sends it high into the Sydney sun, taken down by Shani Williams for Australia. First position there and first penalty of the match. Ruby Tui puts a hand up, got in the wrong spot, so Australia will set away early on. And it's the jinking, weaving run of Emma Sykes, slipping a ball to Williams. New Zealand defending early. Tui's got in there and earned a turnover, though. The penalty came before the knock-on.
Yeah, get out of jail free card there for Ruby Tui, but very fast-paced start here from the Aussies, looking to speed up the tempo of the game, run New Zealand off their feet early on, but they come away with the penalty.
Fitzpatrick taking a more prominent playmaking role. There's Fata Simpkins and now Niall Williams and Michaela Blyde. Will be well looked after. What a matchup that is, Blyde and Green. Hedony. And Tui puts the head down, accelerates through the gap. Ruby Tui, she's got one to be, clinging on around the ankles. Was Emma Sykes, a vital intervention by Sykes. New Zealand set again. Williams looking to get Blyde, cutting in on the inside, stepping around the tackle of Pucky, skipping out of another one. Michaela Blyde's got Politi coming across, and then Quirk and cover, and Fata Simpkins. The call's gone backwards. She waited and checked, thought she'd knocked it on. Walker on the outside. Stacey Walker's going to draw first blood for New Zealand.
A very impressive start there from New Zealand. It came from the hard work of Ruby Tui with the turnover. And the strong carries there from Niall Williams. A beautiful late switch between Williams and Blyde. Blyde just pumps her way through the midfield. Beats 1, 2, 3 defenders. Goes to ground, offloads. And a little slip up there. Good call though, did go backwards. And Walker has the first say of the game.
The spotless stadium crowd might disagree with you, Tiana, but it doesn't matter because scores on the board. Kick from out wide is going to be short, but Stacey Walker scores first for New Zealand, 5-0. That restart is not going to go the 10. How often do we see a team score points and then make a mistake from the kickoff?
And this is exactly what Australia need. Time and time again, we see restarts given away, easy possession. The game of sevens is too short to be giving away possession to a team like Australia, who have a very high strike rate.
Miss Sykes stands in midfield. Goes it herself and then switches to the right and then back to the left through Quirk. New Zealand trying to rush up and they've been able to manipulate and overlap. Here's Politi trying to get around the outside of Walker. She's got support inside. Walker comes back at Politi. Good tackle. Ball bundled into touch with 4 or 5 players. And the touch judge, Joy Neville, the assistant, points New Zealand's way.
A great track tackle there from Waka, but Ivania Politi with ball in hand, she is lethal. She had the support on the inside in the form of Paki, but it's the timing and the pressure there from Waka and Tui to make those track tackles. They needed to be made, or Ivania Politi, she was in the corner.
New Zealand's been able to bring down the line and on their old goal line, and they've hacked ahead, and chasing is Niall Williams, so Australia regaining possession inside their own half. Emma Sykes running away from her speedster. We haven't seen Ellia Green in this match yet. Going in underneath is Lily Dick. Soraya Pucky, what an occasion for these teenagers. Pucky just 17. Chipping ahead. There's nobody back there for New Zealand. It's the ball, and it's Sykes, and it's in the hands of Emma Sykes. A brilliant play. She did it all herself. What a response from Emma Sykes.
Emma Sykes, you little wizard. She was isolated on that left edge and she thought, you know what, there's no sweeper in the back there, I'll go myself. Backs her pace, and hasn't she been phenomenal for Australia all weekend? At the ripe old age of 20 years old, she plays with a very mature head. That is pure class there from Sykes. And the bench looks happy, don't they?
They love the decision, the ability to size up that option. Emma Sykes leading Australia. And the kick away. 5 points all.
Good sign.
Ball batted back for Goss, who's dumped, and I think, there's a double blast here, and it's going to be Shani Williams.
That is a huge blow for the Aussies here. The skipper in the sin bin for 2 minutes. With 1:30 left on the clock. Fair call, though. She had all the right intention going into contact, but you can't take players out in the air. It's too dangerous. Australia need that composure from Williams. A big responsibility here for the senior players on field.
New Zealand have rolled in the subs, Baker and Broughton, as they often do, with about 2 minutes to go in the half. They've got an extra player, and they've quickly transferred to Blyde, one-on-one with Green. Instead, she chops back in field again. Michaela Blyde, New Zealand going to heave it across. There's only Paliti really out there in defence. Now Quirk comes to help siding across. Here goes Shakira Baker straight up through the middle, stepping past a few Australian defenders, and now opening up Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick for Blyde. She's thrown it in front. Blyde's able to just get there in time. Just a little bit of a rush there for New Zealand, and they'll set the ball and try and open up. The step of Broughton. There's the right foot, and there it is again. Bounces out of one. Goes herself, now linking up with Tui, trying to find some space. Ruby Tui might like to go 50-odd metres, not if Ivania Paliti's got anything to do with it. Tui pops the ball for Baker, who fends off the effort. It was energy sapping. Green's chasing. Baker's struggling. She gets there. In the nick of time, New Zealand make the most of the extra numbers.
This is such a common theme for New Zealand, to try and score points before the halftime hooter. And Shakira Baker reaps the rewards, but she was the one that did all of the hard yards through the middle of the field, saw the overlap, and just unfortunate there for Paliti. She went high in the tackle. Someone like Shakira Baker, you need to wrap the legs. And Elliot Green just emptying the tank, doing everything she can to try and prevent that try. She came flying from the left edge, but Shakira Baker too strong.
She might have hurt herself a wee bit in the process, Elliot Green. She's coming to the sideline. As Fata Simpkins successfully converts the try. New Zealand go 12-5 up, and Shani Williams still in the bin. Elliot Green to the bench. Kick goes long, finds open spaces, a little miscommunication between Sykes and Dirk, and there's Soraya Paki. Felt Broughton breathing down her neck, did really well, but now Tui's got in and turned the ball over for New Zealand. They might fancy one more here before half-time. Needs to be released. Baker, the try scorer. Broughton. Big cutout ball for Blyde. Tonagato had rushed up. Blyde again going infield, trying to slip a ball to Fata Simpkins. Back. Broughton. Cross to the hands to Baker, and now the New Zealand skipper, Sarah Hiddeny, stepping away. Ball up over the top to Tui. Gets a knock in the head. Ball is play on. Ruby Tui, chest pass. It's going everywhere for New Zealand at the moment, and now they might have the numbers for Blyde. Quirk's coming across. Can she get there? Is Blyde going to have too much gas? Of course she is.
Michaela Blyde, time and time again, too much in the tank, but New Zealand really foot on the throttle at the moment, capitalising on the fact that Shani Williams is sitting in the sin bin for 2 minutes, trying to rack up as many points as they can get, but the attacking awareness of this team to keep the ball alive and stretch the Australian defence from side to side, running them off their feet, it's so much harder to defend than it is to attack, and New Zealand have identified that.
New Zealand will go into half-time. The bench happy. conversion away. New Zealand jump ahead in the cup final, 17 points to 5.
Skills getting there. So when you carry, all right, don't stop with your legs. Keep going, keep going, keep going as far as you can. All right, keep pumping, pumping, pumping. Then go to ground, work hard on the floor. The quicker we get that recycle out, the quicker we play. All right, go get it, go get it. We're starting the clock. This crowd will get us home. This crowd will get us home. All right, stick with it. All right.
Okay, don't run into 3-2. Outside shoulder for Ben.
We score next. We score next.
Okay, guys. Stop. Play on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Don't let him step 3 or 4 plays when they're coming on the wing. All right, let's stay up.
Defence being the main focal point in that halftime huddle for Australia. And when they're going into contact to keep pumping the legs, a couple of times they've been isolated, and it's the likes of Hideni and Tui that are going to force those turnovers.
So the final delicately poised. Australia back to the full complement of players, but boy, they suffered with Shani Williams in the sin bin. 17-5 New Zealand lead in the cup decider. The only title they haven't won. Australia must score first after half-time. Ball out of the shadows, knocked back by Hideni, and it's put under pressure. Oh, great tenacity from Peliti to get there first, but then Hideni came back at it. New Zealand tried to break away. Hands from Fata Simpkins is batted on. Tui. New Zealand, you can hear the call. They wanted it left, and they wanted it out there sharply. Blyde, Tonagato coming across. Blyde accelerates through the gap and through another. Michaela Blyde's going to go 60 metres. She is all power, she is all pace, and she may have just broken open this final. Brutal blow by the New Zealanders after half-time.
Brutal is exactly what that is. Blyde, she saw the opportunity. The hips were turned there of the defenders, and just simple missed tackles from the Aussies. Nothing special, but Blyde, she has all the pace, all the momentum to follow through.
Kick from out in front by Fata Simpkins extends the margin for New Zealand, 24 points to 5, and Michaela Blyde goes back to the top of the series standings. What a battle it's been this weekend between Blyde, Farella and Murphy Crowe. Taken down by Peliti. Williams fends off Tui, goes herself through. Shani Williams, opposite captain, comes at her. Hideni. Quirk. Traherne onto the field, throws a loose ball up over the head of Tonagato. They'll go back for a penalty. Offside, I think, against Michaela Blyde. Let off for Australia.
Offside.
Williams. Now two-man tackle on the youngster, and now blowing through using all the strength and power. Baker didn't release though. So penalties mounting up against New Zealand as they go quickly. Sykes again taking on Fata Simpkins. She's going to get around there. Emma Sykes is doing it herself at the moment for Australia. That's a critical score.
Super clever decision there from Emma Sykes. She bags her second try this match, but she knows that Hideni's turned her back. She's running back to get onside, and just a little bit of footwork is what she needed to break that line. But Emma Sykes playing with so much class and awareness.
Emma Sykes is keeping Australia in this at the moment. She scored the first. A beautiful solo effort with a chip ahead, that one. Attacking on her own. Ellia Green gets back out there, must get her into the game. Flying high, soaring for that was Hirini. Williams, Niall Williams that is. Looking for the cut, goes herself, gets Green around the waist and Tonegata over the top. Ball is there for Fitzpatrick, just clinged on. Tui allows that Australian defensive line to reset. Fata Simpkins trying to get the dancing feet, or she's got herself isolated, but perhaps made the smart move. In fact, I think she's gone down with injury. Fata Simpkins prone in midfield. New Zealand will press on. Niall Williams scooping around the outside. It was the ball from Fitzpatrick. It was a beauty. Green chasing hard. Brilliant chase. Green dumps Williams into the ground. Try-saving tackle from Elliot Green. It had to be made. She had the speed on Williams and she saved Australia's day. New Zealand down to 6. Green chips ahead. Tui chasing. Is the ball going to beat them? It does. Oh, Green. She saved them at one end and it almost went the other way.
This is a power move here from Elliot Green. She's been doing it time and time again this weekend, putting big shots on. But Niall Williams, I thought she was in for all money then, and Elliot Green just came flying from the left side of the field. She ended up being isolated though, forcing her to put a little chip in. She had no support.
There's Fata Simpkins going down under no attention. So New Zealand down in playmakers. Tyler Nathan Wong injured yesterday. Kelly Brazier sitting at home. And now Fata Simpkins injured out of the game by the looks. Hirini. Waka, oh, tricky little transfer, and Stacey Waka's busted through. Nobody saw it coming. Only person who knew about it was Hirini and Waka.
A sneaky little play there between Hirini and Waka. Stacey Waka, she's been instrumental in the success of the Kiwis this weekend. But a clever little set-piece play. They've obviously been working on that one back at home. Stacey Waka comes away with the goodies. 2 minutes to go in this match.
Stacey Waka has stepped up for New Zealand. Kicks away, 29 points to 10. Hale Broughton down with the kicking duties now. Nicely taken down by Williams. Into the final minute of the final now. Sykes has done everything and now she's thrown a poor ball that Williams read beautifully. Fitzpatrick, they might fancy themselves here. Another New Zealand. Broughton's got Blyde outside her and Michaela Blyde will go in for a hat-trick in the final to wrap it up for New Zealand.
Talk about creating something out of nothing. If anyone knows how to do it, it's the Black Fern Sevens here. Fitzpatrick with a strong carry and just simple attacking patterns there. Gail Broughton sticks two defenders and gives a perfectly timed pass to her flyer out on the edge.
Hugs all around from New Zealand. And the bench kick out wide. It's a very good effort, but it's away, and it's 34 points to 10. Well, just when everybody thought they might have been vulnerable, they've proven once more, this New Zealand outfit, that they can go to another level and can find something else when they need to in the face of a very good Australian side. Australia want one more though. True. Hitting heavy contact with Tui and Fitzpatrick. Lots of new players out there now getting a chance to feel what it's like to play in a final. McGregor. Tui almost ripping it away again. Chipping ahead, Peliti gets rid of Broughton out of the way. Peliti being a tyro. Green's hit Blyde off the ball. That's going to be a penalty. Go and pick up her opposite. Just got that timing a bit wrong. Probably an element of frustration.
She looks like she's knocked the absolute wind out of Michaela Blythe there. She came in steaming. I thought Michaela Blythe would have collected that ball. I think Elliot did as well.
Not the way the final wants to finish, but New Zealand will not mind. For the first time, they have won the title in Sydney, and it's now 6 of the best. All 6 World Series titles are in the hands of these women. The Black Fern Sevens, unstoppable, 34 points to 10. They take the final over Australia.
Well, New Zealand, they gave Australia absolutely no room to breathe. Made the most of every single attacking opportunity that they were given. And just came out the better team in the end.
His 7th consecutive final and the 6th win in a row on the World Series. 35 straight wins, 36 straight wins, that now makes it on the HSBC World 7 Series, and 49 matches taking in Commonwealth Games and Rugby World Cup 7s. But Australia, this has been a great response for them, an excellent weekend, bit of a slow start, but now they've got themselves right back in the mixer.
Absolutely, and using this tournament as a platform, playing on home soil, they'll look to keep the momentum leading into the second half of the World Series. And some outstanding performances from young Emma Sykes, the likes of Ivania Politi, Elliot Green, Shani Williams. They'll have a lot to take away from this weekend.
17 years old, Soraya Paki, 18, Lily Dick. There's a lot to like for the Australian team as the management, the unsung heroes of the New Zealand side. We talk so much about the record of the players and the winning streak. What about the coach, Alan Bunting? 95 out of 98, that now makes it since he's been in charge of this team. 95 wins. Tough return for Emma Toneghetto. How good to see her back out there. Elliot Green just couldn't get into the final, couldn't come her way. Final words from the Australians, but we can hear out now from the New Zealand captain, Nat Unitas, has with her Sarah Hirini.
Yeah, I sure do. It's very happy Sarah Hirini, as you could imagine. Sarah, 12 months ago, it was a very different story, a very different result, and I'm guessing a very, very different feeling.
An extremely different feeling to come here to Sydney and win against a tough Australian side. That's a hard thing to do, and I'm so proud of the girls. They've played amazing over these last 3 days, and just pretty stoked at the moment.
Is there a sense of revenge about this one, or was it just too long ago?
Oh, no, like, we always want to come out here, we always want to win whoever we're playing, but to beat Australia at home is like nails it on the head. It was amazing, and it was tough. The score didn't reflect how well they played.
You've spoken already about how that loss really motivated you to be basically undefeated for 12 months now. Where does the motivation come from now?
It comes from within. We're a very competitive side. We don't like to lose. And anytime we put on that black jersey, it's you want to keep stepping up, and you don't want to let your country or your family families down. So that's why we play and that's why we're competitive.
It seems like you're miles ahead of the competition at the moment. Do you have another gear in you? Can you guys get better?
I hope we're getting better. We train every day. We want to keep improving, and we want to take this women's sevens to the next level. And all we can do is train hard and keep being competitive when we're back home. And I know there's girls back home who really want to be here as well, so that keeps driving us to be better.
Well, you guys are an absolute joy to watch. Congratulations on the win. Please go enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
This has been a hard-fought win for them this time. It was a tough quarter-final against Canada, and then an Australian team throwing everything at it. But there has to be one player of the final, and we can head down with Nat for the HSBC player of the final.
Yeah, I've got the HSBC player of the final here with me, Stacey Wacker. Stacey, congratulations. It must be an incredible feeling, very different to what it was 12 months ago.
Yes, exactly. That hurting feeling stuck with us the whole way through. So just proud of the girls. They were absolutely dominant on attack and defence, and we stuck it out right to the end whistle. So, yeah.
What was the message heading into this game? Because in front of a home crowd, Australia can be very, very dangerous. We know, we've seen at the Olympics and on this World Series.
We just had to be patient with the ball. We knew that Aussie would have us around the park. So staying patient, having confidence in our girls' abilities, because we have this game plan for a reason. The coaches trust us, and I think we pulled it off today.
No Portia, no Kelly, and of course no Nathan Wong in this match either. You guys have some incredible depth. The competition for spots is just so strong, and you just continue to improve.
Yes, exactly. So there's lots of depth back home. There's 20 contracted girls all vying for spots each time. So it makes us work extra hard, because you never know if you're going to be in that 12 travelling or not.
Well, it was a fantastic performance, not just from the team, but from you as well. Stacey Wacker, the player of the final. I'll now introduce HSBC Ambassador DJ Forbes to present the HSBC Player of the Final trophy.
New Zealand legend Stacey Wacker really stepping up in the absence of Portia Woodman. That smile never really leaves her face. 2 tries in the final. And Nat putting it to work still more with the UL mark of excellence.
Yeah, exactly right. And who else would it be but Michaela Blythe, a hat-trick in the final. Michaela, congratulations on the win. It must always be nice to contribute in such a big game.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always tough coming up against Australia at home. The last time we played against them was in Paris last year. So it had been a while since we'd played against them, and we knew that they were going to come out firing in front of their families and friends. So, yeah, we just made sure that we emptied it out on that field, and we've come out with the result, which is brilliant.
We've spoken to the other girls already about how it was very different 12 months ago. Just how proud are you of how things have turned around in 12 months? You're undefeated in that long.
Yeah, when you put it like that, it sounds pretty incredible, doesn't it? But it's hard to believe. But, I mean, since the Com Games final, we've just completely turned around our culture and our game plan and mindset and everything, and it's working out for the better of us. Obviously, we've got a really tough year coming up with Olympic qualifications this year and Olympics next year. So every tournament and every team, every game is one that you've got to not take lightly. So with that kind of mindset, we're coming out on top, which is good.
Yeah, and you guys are an absolute joy to watch, and so are you as well. A hat-trick in the final. Congratulations. I would now like to introduce Paul Deverell to hand over the UL Mark of Excellence trophy.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi, Mum and Dad.
Shout out to the Blythe family in Taranaki. Michaela Blythe, UL Mark of Excellence. Let's head down now for the presentation of the HSBC Sydney Sevens.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Rugby Australia, we hope you've enjoyed the running rugby and the entertainment throughout the 2019 HSBC Sydney Sevens. We've seen 34 exciting women's matches across the weekend, culminating with New Zealand and Australia battling it out for the Cup final for the title of 2019 HSBC Sydney Sevens champions. Would you please join me in welcoming our official party, Jessica Power, Head of Retail Banking and Wealth Management, HSBC Australia, Brett Robinson, World Rugby Council and Exco member, and Raylene Castle, Chief Executive of Rugby Australia. I'd like to firstly call on the winners of the bronze medal, the USA, to receive their medals.
USA. Jordan Mattias, nice to have her back. Ilona Maher, well, we didn't get to see much of her, unfortunately, this weekend. Gets a bit of help from Fabisi. Hopefully that's not too serious for Ilona Maher. Good third-place finish for the USA to keep them well in that top 4. And gosh, how well has this woman led the Australian side. There are not enough superlatives for Shani Williams.
No, and she's a phenomenal leader, Shani Williams. She's not so much a vocal person, but she's very much someone that leads by actions, and the accolades of this woman are phenomenal. And she's a wonderful person off the field as well, a real mother figure almost around the team, and a great mentor for the young girls coming through the squad.
Still with Charlotte Caslick out, Shannon Parry and Demi Hayes to return to the squad for hopefully the next tournament. That's in mid-April in Kitakyushu. Not to think about Alicia Quirk back to fitness, and these two women, Emma Tonegato making her way back, and Ellia Green. It's been a huge weekend, an emotional weekend too for Ellia Green. And we've seen some of her absolute best. 98 tries she now sits on in the World Series. The ton can't be far away.
And finally, I'd like to invite New Zealand to the stage to receive their gold medals.
Tyler Nathan Wong will lead them up, crutches and all, injuring her ankle. In the quarter-final, Stacey Waka, our player of the final, and Teresa Fitzpatrick tucked in behind them. Not a player who gets a lot of accolades, but one whose role in this team is becoming increasingly vital. The rest of them have got 3 months to fill, 2 months not quite, to figure out how to stop them before the next tournament, Tiana.
Yeah, plenty of time when you think about it. There's 6 opportunities for these women to really put their front foot forward and to play on the world stage like this. So no doubt everyone will be going back home and working on everything, using the video footage and learning from the mistakes of this weekend. But then in saying that, 2 months for the Kiwis to get better and better.
And now I'd like to invite Jessica Power, Head of Retail Banking and Wealth Management, HSBC Australia.
Ferris there, the 13th player.
Sarah Harini, captain
Quite
of
get
New
a chance
Zealand
to make her
for the
debut, but it might not be far off.
HSBC Sydney Sevens Cup.
It's been familiar scenes all around the world, but for the first time on Australian soil, New Zealand are the HSBC Sydney Sevens champions. All 6 trophies from the World Series. Kitakyushu, Langford, Paris. Now to start the 2019 season, Glendale, Dubai and Sydney. These fans, family, a lot of them have come across the ditch and been rewarded by their team once more. Nice little moment there between Michaela Blythe and Ellia Green, Gail Broughton. And as competitive as they all are, that's what it is in the end, the camaraderie on this tour. They bash each other on the field, and then they can smile about it afterwards. Over Spotless Stadium in Sydney. The women's competition, a fabulous 3 days of women's sevens rugby wraps up. We've seen new teams rise to the fore, Ireland into the semi-finals for the first time. And ultimately it is still one team who will have their final moment. the lines of that haka Ngārongotoa that the New Zealand women perform when they win a title. They didn't submit this weekend, but boy, the challenges are coming on the HSBC Women's World Series, and they are coming thick and fast as we hit the halfway point. And these incredible teams and fabulous athletes go from strength to strength. This is how the points standings look now after 3 of the 6 rounds. New Zealand perfect and looking good to get that Olympic qualification locked up. USA with that 3rd place, just pipping now in front of Canada, but look how tight it is. Canada, so important that they finished well today. Australia there, and they've opened up a gap now, haven't they, on the European teams, and that is going to make it very tough as we head towards Tokyo 2020. New Zealand, USA, Canada, Australia, the top 4. So as we wrap up the women's tournaments, we can head back to the men's. Hand you over to Sean Maloney.
Thank you very much, Ricky Swanell. We thank you for your coverage across the weekend. So too Tiana Penatani also, Danielle Waterman and Simon Ward also. Next up, it is Tonga taking on Samoa. Samoa, strong favourites for this game. Tonga, the invitational side here in Sydney. But as you'd expect, when the Pacific Island nations clash, fireworks follow. I'm Sean Maloney alongside me for the call in this one. It is a very good evening to Willie Lossay.
Yeah, good evening, Sean. And Samoa will be desperate to get points. You're talking about points in the Olympic qualifications. And, of course, Tonga aren't a core team on the circuit. And so points are valuable, hence the reason Samoa will come in as hot favourites.
Tonga led by Fotofili. Samoa, well, they have their power man, David Athamasanga, as they go to their lead-up. So often they spin it in his direction and say, Big Davey, you do the rest for us. Tupou was good in their win earlier this afternoon. Perez, always cutting and thrusting out wide. Jeremy Rosier, our referee for this one. So this is our 13th place playoff. But as Willie Lossay alluded to, points oh so important on the HSBC Sevens World Series. Jeremy Rosier calls time on. The ball in the hands of Falatasi Tupou, and he goes right up the middle. Good weight on it. It's going to fall for Savenea, and we're going to come back to halfway.
Didn't go the 10 metres, according to the French referee, and so Tonga get first position.
Inisi. Now with Fotofili, the captain. Good offloading contact and solid charge as well coming from Paya. Inisi delays the cut ball. It's a good
You can't do this. The game of sevens, we want to play the game quickly, and you can't just do that. You just put the ball down and get back to 10 metres.
Capable of scoring long-range tries are Samoa.